In this question, the author says, last year, the government of country A imposed large tariffs on steel imports in an effort to aid its domestic steel industry. Many domestic steel producers enjoyed record profits as a result, as foreign steel producers were in many cases unable to compete effectively under the burden of the newly imposed tariffs. Okay. Which of the following conclusions is best supported by the passage? All right, let's look at the options one by one, and we'll start with option B here. All right, so B says some foreign steel producers were able to compete effectively. All right, now just a quick scan of these options will tell us that all of these options have these kind of words which denote some kind of quantity, right? Some, most here also. All right, this is kind of a general statement, option E, but rest of them have like some, most, and the first one has not all. Okay, so these kind of questions, where there is a play on these words, okay, these questions need to be tackled very carefully, because we need to understand what the passage is saying exactly, and we need to understand where the options are using these quantity words to change the meanings away and make the meanings different from what the passage is saying. Okay, all right, so let's look at B. B says some foreign steel producers were able to compete effectively. All right, now let's match this with the information that is given to us. So the passage says foreign producers were in many cases unable to compete effectively. Okay, so can we deduce from here that some were able to compete effectively? No. Okay, in reasoning this does not work. All right, if the passage says many were unable to compete, all right, it does not mean that some were able. All right, this is wrong. All right, so option B we can tick off. Look at C. C says after the new tariffs were imposed, most foreign steel producers were unable to compete effectively. Okay, so again let's go back to the passage. Passage says many cases. All right, now option C says most. So is many equal to most? No. All right, just take a quick example. Suppose there are 1,000 apples, all right, and I have 200. Okay, so I can say that I have many apples because 200 is a big number for apples. Okay, so if I have 200 apples in my refrigerator, for example, I can say that I have many apples. All right, but is this 200 out of a total of 1,000? Is this most? No, it's many, but it is not most. I cannot say that most of the apples out of the entire basket I have. Okay, I do not possess most of the apples. Why? Because 200 is a big number in absolute terms, but when compared to out of total of 1,000, all right, 200 is not a major number. All right, it is not the majority, so I cannot say most. Understood? So many is not equal to most. All right, now this concept will help us in eliminating option C as well as option D, because even option D says most domestic steel producers were able to increase their profits after the new tariffs were imposed. All right, now the passage says many domestic steel producers enjoyed record profits. I cannot say most. Okay, all right, now look at option E. E says if a government intends to protect domestic industry, the imposition of tariffs on imports is generally an effective approach. Okay, now this is an option that can be eliminated because it is quite a generalized option. Okay, and generalization is something that is not correct when it comes to short passages, okay, or even longer passages. Generalization is basically not correct. Okay, so option E we can tick off because that is a general option. Okay. So if we go by elimination method, we can easily eliminate all of these choices and the only option remaining is option A. However, let's look at option A, let's just understand this from the conceptual point of view. A says not all steel producers were unaffected by country A's newly imposed tariffs. All right, not all steel producers. Option A does not say whether it's talking about domestic or foreign steel producers. Yeah, it just says not all steel producers. So both of these are included here. Okay, all right. Now the passage told us that many domestic steel producers enjoyed record profits. All right, and foreign steel producers were in many cases unable to compete. All right. So from this information, we can obviously say that not all producers were unaffected. What this means is just that there were some producers who were affected. Okay, so we can just rephrase this option to say that some producers were affected by country A's newly imposed tariffs. Okay, now affected in which way we don't know, but then some producers were definitely affected positively or negatively. But as per the information given in the passage, okay, we can say that option A is correct. Okay, so the correct answer is option A.